Good morning, everyone. So I was MIA yesterday. I was on Twitter a lot and Instagram. So usually if I don't get to a daily reading, you can find me on other social media somewhere. If you need a little bit of assistance or push with this energy that's happening. The reading that I did on Saturday, I kind of warned everybody that this Capricorn moon transit was going to be really tough. And then yesterday when the moon was actually void, and what that means is when the moon is void, it just had a major aspect to a planet. And since we're trining right now, plus moon with Pluto and Saturn, there were a lot of major aspects. So the moon goes void where it sort of wanders before it enters the next sign. That's the easiest way to explain it. So it kind of is, it's not really lost in space, but it wanders away from all of the other planets. So it's sort of void. That's just it's wandering, if you will. And then it moved into Aquarius yesterday evening. I literally almost felt, sorry, my eyes watering really bad. It's really annoying when it does that. I felt the lightness. I felt it lighten up yesterday evening. Things didn't feel so tough. But if you felt like you couldn't get anything done yesterday, or every single time you tried to get something done, it was met with obstacles, or even if you just fought with yourself, fought within yourself all day long, perfectly normal to have happened yesterday. And when those times come up, the biggest thing to remember is that you're probably really sensitive to energies, and that a lot of the things that you're beating yourself up about are probably lies anyways, right? My key to the negative self-talk is when it starts to happen, when you start to tell yourself that you can't do certain things, or you're not good enough, or whatever it is that your negative self-talk voice says. I want you to ask yourself if it's the truth. I want you to say, okay, wait, stop yourself. Ask yourself if it's the truth. Also ask yourself, say, would I say this to somebody that I love? Would I say it to my mom? Would I say it to my best friend, my dad, my brother, my sister, whoever, my lover, my husband, wife? And if the answer is no, don't say it to yourself, because you really should be loving yourself more than loving other people. And that sounds really selfish, but it's true. If we had more self-love in this world, which is the key to unconditional love, if we had more self-love, we could love others more. But we don't treat ourselves very well. We are our own worst enemies. And so that's what this energy is about. It's about making you recognize how you are your own worst enemy. And to stop being your enemy and to start really loving yourself, because the more you're loving on yourself, the more you are going to be able to love other people. We're going to talk about some of the energies for today. I will be right back though. One second. Okay. So some of the things that we're dealing with today, again, I have some notes down here. It's actually, the notes are on my phone this time. So we are doing the sun conjunct Mars still. It's starting to kind of pull away from Mars a little bit, but the energy is still really strong. So this I can do it kind of attitude and getting things done is that's kind of your saving grace right now, because with the sun opposite Neptune, there's an air of illusion, or wanting to see things in a different way, not really wanting to look at things in reality. The sun is, okay. The moon, which is now in Aquarius, is squaring with Uranus, which is actually Aquarius's it's a ruling planet, right? But Uranus is in Taurus right now. It's just an extra day for sensitivities. You could probably really find yourself flying off the handle really fast. And all of these things that are happening, and with Uranus trining Pluto, also it's a big time for change and transformation. And it's easy for other people to kind of pop off at you, or for you to pop off at somebody else if you're feeling triggered. And it's very easy to get triggered if you are not staying in your own lane, or you're not conscious and aware of the actions and the reactions of other people. And there's one other. Okay, so in the next couple of days, Mars will be squaring Jupiter, which is going to give us this opportunity to feel a little bit better about, and this will happen on the 12th actually, so it's in a couple of days, but this is going to give us an opportunity to feel a little bit better about the projects and the things that we're trying to do. You could be a little overly optimistic about it. So watch that over optimism. You'll want to take more risks and stuff in the next couple of days. All of this energy is leading up to the harvest moon in Pisces, the full moon on Friday the 13th. This actually hasn't happened in about 19 years. The last time we had a full moon, harvest full moon on a Friday the 13th was in 2000. So, and then it'll happen again, I guess, in like 2049, I think is what I read. But this full moon, and we're going to do another full moon ritual that morning. It's going to be different because this is really all about self-care, releasing like all of these things that we have been working our way up to in order to grow and to heal and to blossom and to be bigger and better and do great, amazing things. This is that full moon where it's like, it's harvest time, right? It's Virgo season, and harvest time is about feeding ourselves, but also making sure that everybody else has enough food for the winter, right? That's what harvest is. And this full moon is that final purge and that final release, and then bringing in the love for yourself, really doing a lot of self-care. And this full moon ritual actually involves like either taking a bath, or if you don't have a bath, you can do it in the shower as well. But it's going to be, I'm going to show you all of the things to do for a really good salt bath that is, it'll cleanse your aura and it'll refresh and renew your spirit. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're also leading up to an energy where Jupiter is squaring Neptune, but that is like a couple of days before we hit Libra season, so we still have like another week. Saturn is also, hold on a second. Okay, hopefully the video's not skipping. It's doing the frame rate dropping thing again. So like frames are dropping. So hopefully the video's not skipping. We're going to get into the cards. I did want to say one last thing. Saturn is going direct on the 17th of September. And so all of the lessons that you have learned while Saturn has been in retrograde for the last 5 months should kind of be coming to a culmination. And Saturn going direct does not mean that you forget about the things that you learned and you don't act on it or you don't do something with it. Saturn direct means that you push yourself even further to make sure that you're learning your karmic lessons. So you can, the reason why you want to learn your karmic lessons is so you can live a joyful, filled life. A joyful life, full, and not something where you're constantly struggling. The karma is the struggle. So if you're not learning your lessons, that's why you're still struggling. You could be in the middle of learning them, and that's why you're struggling as well. But don't forget the lessons that you learned while Saturn was in retrograde, because that karma is big. And we want to be able to release that stuff, you know, like not have to sit. And it's that dread. It's the things that you really are dreading. But I feel like there's more stability around the bend. So if you're kind of in despair or you're kind of going through it right now, this energy isn't meant to be easy. And the reason why it's not meant to be easy is because we're all learning a lot of lessons. We're all healing ourselves. And that's the biggest lesson of all to learn. 20% off readings. I do have some openings next week. Just a couple of openings left. next week if you would like to get in. All of that information is in the description box. Virgo birthday readings are still available to purchase. Remember, if you're ordering a birthday reading with me and you want to have it around your birthday, make sure you order it like a week to a week and a half before your birthday. Otherwise, because that's about the time frame that I'm able to schedule people for their birthday readings. Please don't order it the day of your birthday or the day after your birthday and expect to get or the day before your birthday and expect to get the reading like that day. That's not how I work. I'm usually scheduled out pretty far. Okay. So I feel like with this moon in Aquarius, it's not so much not being able to take action, but I do feel like there's sort of a question mark. There's like a question mark all over. I like literally am seeing a question mark in my mind over somebody's head. We're all trying to sort of ground ourselves and become stable with the Queen of Pentacles. And then we have the Knight of Wands and we have the King of Swords. I feel like we're all trying to get grounded and stable and logical, but we still have some questions in our mind that we need to answer. And I feel like the key to getting those answers, because we have the Hermit is right in between, or is flanked by Temperance on one side and Justice on the other. So I feel like the key to balancing yourself out right now and kind of balancing out your heart and your mind and allowing yourself to find a peaceful existence, just a peaceful space and a peaceful existence within yourself, it's about getting quiet and allowing yourself to get quiet. And that way, all of those crazy thoughts that are going on in your mind, you can make sense of them because you're letting yourself feel them too. Does that make sense? Like, I hope that makes sense. It's dropping. The frames, it says the frames are dropping again. All right, let's just get through the card reading. So yeah, with Temperance and with Justice, I feel like there's a need for balance here. So I feel like that's what's happening right now, is getting balanced. So, the Six of Cups on the Queen of Pentacles. I feel like there's a need for nurture because of the past. You know, like, I feel like there's a need to trust in yourself a little bit more and allow yourself to nurture who you are. Because I feel like so there could be an earth sign or somebody who was once stable in your past showing back up or trying to decide whether they want to show back up. But more than anything, if there are things that are coming up from your past over and over and over again, for you to reconcile within yourself, I want you to pay attention to that. And I want you to nurture that part of you. Because I feel like there are some things like, you know, ask the child within yourself, what is it that they need? You know what I mean? Like, nurture that part of you that you neglected. We have the Seven of Wands on the Knight of Wands. You know what's really funny about this is I feel like some of us have such good boundaries that it's almost like a wall. Like somebody's going to have to take a big jackhammer to this wall to break it down to even get close to you. And I think a lot of that is because the decision-making skills right now are not good. Like, you don't want to risk something or put yourself in the middle of something that you don't fully 100% understand or fully feel comfortable with. So you've got these boundaries up, right? We always talk about having healthy boundaries, but are you being too closed off? Right? The King of Swords is somebody who I would see as being really closed off. not really opening yourself up to much, right? And if that's actually what's happening here, if somebody's like really, really shut down and not very opening themselves up to much of anything, there is a need for a healthy balance, right? There's a very big need for a healthy balance. Let's see what this King of Swords is. Okay. This feels like maybe one person, it feels like, okay, so if you're the Queen of Pentacles, you're really reminiscing about the past and with a King of Swords. It could be the other way around. It doesn't have to be those signs, just kind of the archetypes, right? The King of Swords is somebody who's very shut off, very tunnel visioned, doesn't really express his emotions very well, but he's very smart. He's very, very smart. I feel like he is healing right now. I feel like he's going through the clarity moments, the being able to take action in his life with clarity, but he's got to do a lot of healing. He's got to do, in order to bring that sun into healing modality or healing mode, he has to allow it to happen, right? So I feel like there are these two individuals and they're both sort of closed off from each other. You know, they're both really close. So whether this is somebody that you are in separation with, whether this is somebody you speak to on a regular basis, or you're going out with them, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a relative, whatever this is, it feels like the relationship is sort of at like a standoff. Like there feels like there's a standoff here. The reason why this is happening, I feel like the reason why this is happening is for growth. Like I feel like these two individuals will eventually come back together, but they both need to balance themselves out in very different ways. If you notice, the Justice card is underneath the King of Swords. So he almost needs to balance himself out in a Libran sort of way, if you will. And the Queen of Pentacles, we have Temperance, and she's balancing herself out with her heart and her mind, which is a very interesting reading. But that was just kind of, it really sort of made sense looking at it that way. And oh yeah, okay. And she is going through a major transformation right now with the Death card. She's going through, and it maybe it's not even her. Maybe it is the King of Swords is going through a major transformation. But he's being very well taken, whoever it is, they're being very well taken care of. And as long as they stay true to themselves, the one thing that I will say about a Virgo, even though Virgos are natural healers and they give so much of themselves, they always stay true to their nature. They don't stray from the teacher, from that, like that archetype, right? The teacher, the healer, the because even if they're unevolved, they are able to change a person's life, right? We talk about how like Scorpios and Sagittarius and Aquarius can like really are the zodiac signs, if you will, zodiac people that show up in a person's life to help transform them. But I always find that Virgos often show up in people's lives when they need healing the most, when they need to be healed the most. At least that's how it's always seemed to me. Like people always show up in my life, or I show up in their life when they need healing the most. So that's what this season is all about. All of this really strong trine energy. Like we had to have all the planets in Virgo. Not all of them, but most of them. We had to have all the planets in Virgo trining Uranus and trining Pluto and Saturn all at the same time to have this deep, heavy healing. So, and that's kind of what it's like. The Virgo's the messenger, right? The Virgo energy has been the messenger for all of us to dig really deep and allow ourselves to see the karmic patterns that we keep doing over and over and over that are keeping us miserable. That's what the karmic patterns are doing. It's keeping you miserable. So, and this feels like a very karmic pattern between these two people. Again, doesn't matter what the relationship is. It could be, but it's some kind of soul type karmic bond that you have with somebody else. And there's this deep healing that's needed. And in the meantime, they're like, you know, the question mark is above their head. Do I keep my boundaries up or do I drop my defense? And that's really all up to what the transformational process is doing. Like, if you guys, man, spirit is like, like, stop touching me. They're like itching my head and, ugh, it's so, like, I hear you, okay? I get it. I'm trying to get the message across. That's been happening to me so much lately. The veil is super, super thin right now. Okay. So, yes. And at the bottom of the deck, we have Judgment, which is beautiful. I love it, especially with this card out. So we have the Ace of Cups on Justice. And herein lies the thing, right? Your justice, your balance, everything coming together for you is about loving yourself, really digging deep and filling up your own cup first and foremost, and not really concerning yourself with other people's lives and their healing and what they're doing, just allowing yourself to focus on you, hear the messages, because I feel like the messages are going to come to you when you're silent. And that doesn't mean clearing your mind, because if the messages are coming to you in meditation, we've talked about that before. We've talked about the meditation before and how it's not about quieting your mind. It's about cataloging your thoughts. And then we have Judgment at the bottom of the deck. And the Seven of Swords. Ooh, with the King of Cups and the Ace of Wands. There's a guilty feeling attached to this King of Cups, whoever that may be for, whether the King of Cups needs to feel guilty or you need to feel, if you're not the King of Cups, you need to feel guilty. It doesn't matter. At this point, it doesn't matter. What you do need to know is now is the time for you to, like it's very easy for people to do like white lies right now and get away with it. So be very, very careful with promises you're making, with people that you're coming in contact with, and the things that they're telling you and the things that you're telling them. And don't lie to yourself. First and foremost, don't lie to yourself. If you're lying to yourself, you're going to lie to everybody else. But there's this opportunity with the King of Cups, whether it is he's a catalyst for somebody, but there's some kind of purpose that is being done with this King of Cups, and there's a guilty feeling behind it, and I feel like that's something that needs to be looked at. It needs to be processed. You guys are going to know. That's the word I want to use, processed. You guys are going to know what that is. I mean, it's a general reading, so it could just be about anything. But more than anything right now, please allow yourselves to take good care of yourselves. And the $30 one question readings, if you need some guidance, they are still available. If you get your $30 one question reading in by Friday, I'll be able to get it out this weekend. So it'll be less than a week for you to get your answer for the $30 one question readings. All of that's on my website, fearlessintuition.net, 20% off of other readings, other personal readings, and 20% off my mugs. There's some necklaces. I have tiger's eye and black tourmaline still. I think there's 2 of each. So if you haven't gotten your necklace, these are not going to be available again once they're gone. They're not going to be available again until the holidays. So, and literally like 4 necklaces left. So if you want to get one, make sure you do that, or you're going to have to wait a few months. I don't even know if I'm going to have them during the holidays. I know I'm going to do the crystal necklaces, the clear crystal quartz necklaces we did, and the rings will be available soon. These are actually going to be available really soon. So I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me this morning, and take really good care of yourselves this week. That Pisces full moon, this is going to be like a refresh, a recharge, moving into Libra season. Big sighs of relief, okay? But you have to be willing to release it and not hold on to things. Love you guys. Bye.